Hello, and welcome to this latest webinar in the Vocational Rehabilitation 100 series, Partnerships That Make a Difference. I am Carol Doback, Acting Deputy Commissioner of the Rehabilitation Services Administration within the U.S. Department of Education. Joining me today from RSA are Christopher Pope from our Data Collection and Analysis Unit and Jerry Elliott from our Training and Service Programs Division. Presenting on behalf of our partners from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is Robert Grenendahl with their Assistive Technology Act program. And presenting on behalf of our partners at the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs are Jamie Robinson and Leilon Bermudez, representing their Vocational Rehabilitation and Employment Program. Throughout its 100-year history, the Vocational Rehabilitation Program has evolved in terms of the services it offers and the types of employment outcomes it helps individuals with disabilities to achieve, keeping pace with advances in society, the economy, science, medicine, and technology. Also, the Vocational Rehabilitation Program throughout its history has developed and maintained strong and long-lasting partnerships with a wide variety of programs at the federal and state levels that are also critical to the ability of individuals with disabilities to achieve employment. Today's webinars will present information about two of these partnerships that have assisted individuals with disabilities to benefit from advances in technology. First, Chris and Rob will present information about the Vocational Rehabilitation Program's partnership with programs established under the Assistive Technology Act that have enabled individuals to benefit from technology and expand their opportunities for careers. We then will hear from Jerry, Jamie, and Leilon about the partnership between the Vocational Rehabilitation Program and the Vocational Rehabilitation and Employment Program that recently have assisted counselors in the program and the veterans with disabilities they serve to benefit from advances in technology as well, though in a much different way. So now I turn to Christopher and Rob to present information on our partnership with the Assistive Technology Act programs.
Thanks, Carol. So Rob, like the VR program, the history of the AT Act program is rich and rooted in the civil rights movement of people with disabilities. Can you tell us about that history and the mission of the program?
Thank you, Carol and Chris. This is Rob Grenendahl with the Administration for Community Living. The Assistive Technology Act was first authorized in 1988 when Congress passed the Tech Act to assist states with identifying and responding to the assistive technology needs of individuals with disabilities across the lifespan. It was administered by NIDR, the National Institute on Disability and Rehabilitation Research, within the Department of Education through two reauthorizations until 2004, when Congress transferred administration of the AT Act to RSA. With the transfer to RSA, the 2004 amendments changed the AT Act from a competitive discretionary grant program to a formula state grant program, with Section 4 providing formula grants to 56 state and territory AT programs, and Section 5 providing formula grants to 57 protection and advocacy for AT programs, including the American Indian Consortium. Section 6 of the Act authorizes discretionary funding for assistive technology national activities. Currently, NDRN, the National Disability Rights Network, provides TA and training to the Section 5 P&As. The AT3 Center, housed at ATAP, the Association of AT Act Programs, provides TA and training to the Section 4 state AT programs. The University of Massachusetts at Boston ICI, Institute for Community Inclusion, is the grantee that oversees CATADA, the Center for AT Act Data Collection and Assistance. In 2014, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act transferred administration of the AT Act from RSA to the Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Community Living. AT includes any item, device, piece of equipment, or product system that can be used to enhance the functional capabilities of individuals with disabilities of all ages, from cradle to rocking chair. The mission of the AT Act today remains the same as when it was housed at RSA. Support state AT programs as well as protection and advocacy programs to conduct activities that directly provide access to and acquisition of AT devices and services for individuals with disabilities.
Thanks, Rob. So who administers these programs at the state level, and what activities are they charged with carrying out?
Each state AT program is administered by a governor-designated lead agency, which must be a public entity. 27 state vocational rehabilitation agencies serve as lead agencies, 20 universities, and 9 that are other agencies, such as disability, administrative, or special education. 14 VR lead agencies implement their state AT program. If appropriate, an implementing entity is also designated by the governor of a state. For example, 14 nonprofit agencies, including 7 dedicated AT organizations, serve as implementing entities, as well as several university-based programs and state agencies. Each of the 56 state and territory AT Act programs serve individuals through device demonstrations, device loans, reutilization of lightly used devices, training, technical assistance, information and referral, and assistance with obtaining funding for assistive technology, including durable medical equipment, home and vehicle modification.
Thanks, Rob. Let's talk a little bit about data. For the VR program in program year 2019, we know that state VR agencies provided rehabilitation technology services to close to 90,000 VR program participants. We also know that in the same time frame, state VR agencies purchased close to $185 million of rehabilitation technology using Title I and Title VI funds. That's a sizable investment, and much of that was in partnership with the AT Act programs. What jumps out at you from recent data from your grantees that they have reported to ACL?
Thank you, Chris. AT programs are required to serve people with all types of disabilities, of all ages, in all environments, and to provide a wide array of activities to meet functional needs. In fiscal year 2019, the 56 AT programs reported that over 64,000 individuals received demonstrations on a series of AT devices to meet their needs. Over 54,000 AT devices were borrowed on a try-before-you-buy approach from short-term device loan programs. 57,588 consumers acquired a total of 78,412 reutilized devices, resulting in an overall savings of $30 million by obtaining lightly used AT instead of new. In fiscal year 2019, for example, the Illinois AT program's partnership with the DRS open-ended loan program, also known as the Fast Track program, provided over 1,400 AT devices to more than 400 DRS customers, saving over $1 million. And the Assistive Technology Specialist program in Illinois conducted over 200 AT evaluations, providing 162 training sessions for Illinois DRS customers.
That's great, Rob. Thanks. As we celebrate 100 years of the VR program, RSA and our partners have been highlighting success stories of individuals with disabilities who, with the support of VR, achieved their educational career goals. There are success stories of people who have benefited from AT Act programs too. Rob, I understand you have 3 of those to share with us today.
Thank you, Chris. Starting with North Carolina. The North Carolina AT program, NCATP, worked with North Carolina AgriAbility to complete an assistive technology farm assessment for a young man who had a spinal cord injury resulting in quadriplegia. He worked on his rural North Carolina farm childhood. And this is his chosen occupation, to work on that family farm. Working with NCATP and Vocational Rehabilitation, his father had installed a hand crank and sling lift and would transfer him into his tractor. In addition to getting in and out of the farm's vehicles, he needed assistance with mobility around the farm. The North Carolina AT program performed the farm assessment and made the following recommendation: utility vehicle with hand controls, transfer lift, and DVR referral. So NCATP referred the young man to North Carolina DVR and followed his application. NCATP acquired a demo transfer lift for the demonstration loan program, allowing the DVR engineer to trail the lift with the farmer. When the trail was complete with recommended additions, DVR purchased the lift system along with a modified UTV, the utility vehicle, with hand controls. Once VR provided assistance, the young man has not only continued farming with his family, but has started his own company within the farm called Carolina Gold, olive oil that is now sold in specialty stores and farm-to-table restaurants. The next story that I have is from the state of Illinois. Marie opened a case with the Illinois Department of Human Services, Division of Rehabilitation Services. Marie's goal was to find computer equipment and software that would assist her with completing daily tasks in her job as an office clerk. Marie's VR counselor submitted the Assistive Technology Assessment request. AT specialists from the Illinois Assistive Technology Program, IATP, met with Marie and provided an assistive technology worksite evaluation. Marie was raised in the Philippines and in school was taught to use her feet for her everyday tasks. She uses her left foot to write, her right arm to type, and was looking for dictation software to assist with everyday writing skills and tasks. Marie had been using Windows speech recognition with success. However, she was having issues switching from the computer headset microphone to the telephone handset receiver, and she was struggling to write on high work surfaces with her right foot. During the AT assessment, it was determined that Marie needed a table that was 16 inches off the ground and could be raised to allow for an angle. A Nuvante multifunctional laptop desk was purchased and provided to her. Since Marie uses her right arm to type, she was provided a large trackball mouse to use on the floor with her feet to help save her from overusage of her right arm. She was also provided a big trackball mouse and 2 switches. All equipment was made available by the Illinois DHS, DRS, and IATP Assistive Technology Bulk Purchasing Program that I mentioned earlier, called the Open-Ended Loan Program in Illinois. Through this partnership, Illinois DHS, DRS expedited the purchase of the AT so that Marie could reach her goal of maintaining success at her job. Here's a picture of Mike. In May of 2018, Mike was on a bike ride with family in Minnesota. When he thought he was going to hit his brother's rear tire, Mike pushed his brakes hard, causing him to lose control and strike a tree. Mike's progress since the accident has been amazing. He adapted to a wheelchair and at age 59 wanted to continue his lifelong career as a farm manager and accountant. With the support of Easter Seals Iowa, the implementing entity for the Iowa State AT program, and Iowa Vocational Rehabilitation Services, modifications were made to Mike's rural home, as well as his office located in historic downtown Iowa Falls. Through the Iowa AT VR partnership, Mike identified and accessed AT with the Information and Assistance Team and the AT Device Demonstration Center before he acquired equipment from the Easter Seals Iowa Assistive Technology Reuse Program for a total cost savings to the state of over $26,000. Mike wanted to serve his customers better than before his accident. So with the help of the Easter Seals AT program in Iowa Vocational Rehabilitation, he obtained a van with hand controls, a lift, and GPS tracking. An action-track power chair supports Mike in accessing fields to better evaluate sod drainage and crop conditions to complete reports to his customers. He also obtained a large flying drone for his work, which required training and mastery, as it is registered with the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. So at this point, I would like to acknowledge the leadership of Tammy Koger, the North Carolina AT Program Director, Willie Gunther, the Illinois AT Program Director, Tracy Kenninger, the Iowa AT Program Director, their dedicated program staff, as well as the partnerships developed by North Carolina, Illinois, and Iowa vocational rehabilitation leaders, and additional innovative collaborations. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. We really appreciate those examples from North Carolina, Illinois, and Iowa. Really great stories to hear about. I'm sure there are many more. If you're interested in connecting with Rob at the ATAC programs at ACL, we're providing his contact information here, as well as some resources for some of the grantees that Rob mentioned. Their social media and websites are available on this slide. Thank you, Rob, for joining us in this VR100 webinar, but most importantly, thank you for your commitment and that of your AT program grantees to fulfill the mission of the AT Act, all the while partnering with vocational rehabilitation programs across the country.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Rob. Now let's hear from Jamie, Jerry, and Leilon about the partnership between the Vocational Rehabilitation Program and the Vocational Rehabilitation and Employment Program at the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jerry Elliott, and for the last 20 years, I have had the great privilege of being the RSA liaison to the Department of Veterans Affairs Vocational Rehabilitation and Employment Program. The state federal program and VA's VR&E program share a common origin dating back to the end of World War I. RSA and VR&E have maintained a relationship for many years, including having liaisons and single points of contact, and in most years, a memorandum of understanding. For example, at the federal level, RSA has participated in several VR&E workshops and work groups to improve services at VR&E over the years. And RSA is an ex officio and participating member of the Veterans Advisory Committee on Rehabilitation, or VACOR. Likewise, VR&E was an active participant in an RSA-sponsored Institute on Rehabilitation Issues, focusing on how state VR agencies and VR&E offices could work together. You can see the resulting publication in the picture on slide 16. At the state level, some states have had long-standing relationships with local VR&E offices, VA hospital VR programs, and VA clinics and community programs. At times, the VR&E program and state vocational rehabilitation agencies have jointly served veterans with disabilities and shared resources such as vocational evaluation capacity, rehabilitation engineering and assistive technology resources, and resources for teaching basic skills of blindness. In the context of this ongoing relationship, about 5 years ago, it became known to RSA that VR&E was looking for a better and more timely way to communicate with the veterans they served. At about the same time, RSA funded the Workforce Innovation Technical Assistance Center, or WINTAC. The WINTAC proposal included the development and piloting of the semi-autonomous research assistant called SARA. SARA is an artificial intelligence-based software program that can perform many functions to assist vocational rehabilitation counselors, or VRCs, to communicate with program participants through email or text messages, and it enters those messages automatically into a VR program's case management system as case notes. For RSA and state VR agencies operating as a core partner in the WIOA Workforce Development System, SARA allowed the creation of shared service records across all core programs in the Workforce Development System and the generation of program evaluation and other workforce system reports. WINTAC had funds to develop 3 pilot sites in which SARA would be implemented across all workforce partners. These sites are in operation in Nevada, Alaska, and Kentucky. These sites demonstrate both the VRC assistance functions and the communication and reporting across workforce partner functions. Some additional state VR agencies have implemented SARA within the VR agency for the VR assistant and for internal reporting functions. Because the VRC assistant functions of SARA were seen as a possible or at least partial solution to VR&E's desire to improve communications, RSA worked with its VR&E liaisons to set up demonstrations of SARA for several groups of VR&E staff. The VR&E staff carried the SARA ball forward and made enhancements. The VA's version of SARA is EVA, or as they refer to it, EVA, the electronic virtual assistant powered by SARA. EVA is an integral part of a comprehensive plan to modernize and improve VR&E services to veterans with disabilities. Here to tell us the most important part of the story are Jamie Robinson and Leland Bermudez of the VR&E's EVA implementation team. Jamie and Leland, please introduce yourself and take it away.
Thank you, Jerry. This is Jamie Robinson joining you all today. I am the supervisor for the strategic analysis team within VR&E, and joining me today is Ms. Leland Bermudez from the VR&E training team. Leland, are you there?
Yes. Hello. Thank you, Jamie, and thank you, Jerry. Thank you for inviting us to be on your VR100 Centennial celebration. I would like to tell you a little bit more about vocational rehabilitation and employment. Our program helps service members and veterans who have service-connected disabilities and an employment handicap to prepare for, find, and keep suitable jobs through counseling and case management. More specifically, for veterans with a discharge under conditions that are other than dishonorable, and they have at least a 20% disability rating with the employment handicap, or a 10% rating with a serious employment handicap, VR&E provides a plethora of services, and these include interest aptitude testing and career counseling, job training, job seeking skills, resume development, and work readiness assistance. We have many special employer incentives and special hiring authorities, as well as on-the-job training and unpaid work experiences require veterans to earn a work experience before going out into civilian work and looking for jobs. The non-paid work experience provides them with additional experience to add on to their resume. And then in order to get to all of those areas for looking for work, we do provide post-secondary training at either a college, a vocational, technical, or business school. And for those who are not able to work, our individuals are provided with independent living services so they can become more independent in their homes and communities. Also, according to the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, service members are automatically entitled to VR&E program as long as they are within 6 months of discharge from the military. VR&E employs over 1,600 employees, and we deliver services through a network of over 350 VBA locations, including 56 regional offices, the National Capital Regional Benefits Office in the District of Columbia, and approximately 142 outbased offices, 71 integrated disability evaluation systems installations, which are at military installations, and 104 Vet Success on-campus schools or sites. In FY19, there were over 120,000 VR&E participants, and we had over 16,000 veterans achieve a positive outcome in the program, which is a 5% improvement from our fiscal year 18. And then over 29,000 new plans were developed to assist veterans with their employment and independent living goals by the end of fiscal 19. Jamie, now it's your turn. Take it away.
Thanks, Lauren. I am happy to say that VR&E is moving into a digital and paperless environment. With that, EVA is a key step in achieving this goal. We have once again successfully reached another checkpoint on our modernization roadmap, which you see on your screen. These modernization improvements fully align with the VBA Undersecretary's 3 priorities. 1, to provide veterans with the benefits they have earned in a manner that honors their service. 2, to ensure we are strong fiscal stewards of the money entrusted to us. And 3, to foster a culture of collaboration. EVA is ultimately one application that's going to afford more time to provide service members and veterans and their dependents with benefits that they have earned in a manner that honors their service. EVA will help the staff and help our veterans. The Executive Director of VR&E Service, Mr. William Streitberger, stated that never before in the history of vocational rehabilitation and employment have the staff been given this unprecedented opportunity to serve veterans in a manner that honors their service, in the way they want to be served. Now is the time that we should start, and we want to make sure that you are involved in this victory, but remember that it's up to you. I wholeheartedly believe that the effecting of change is up to each one of us. Prior to you receiving access to EVA, it went through 30 days of rigorous testing to ensure that it could meet everyday agency and case management needs. Thanks to the multiple stations and almost 200 of our VR&E staff, we are now able to offer a tool that provides exactly what we need and when we need it. And not to worry, we have also considered for implementation purposes feedback from Chapter 31 claimants. Here is what veterans have to say about EVA. It would be great to implement it. I voluntarily opt in to use EVA to communicate with my VR&E counselor. Also, listen to what some of the VR&E staff have to say about the value that they see in using EVA. Thank you. I really appreciate being able to email veterans through the EVA dashboard and have the email conversation automatically populate in our case management system as a case note. That really saves a ton of time. Also, we've heard that this program is amazing and they're very pleased with it. A couple of things that we've enhanced from the pilot moving forward. We've also included missed appointment messages. That was one of the enhancements. We were able to reach out to veterans to let them know that we wanted to connect with them even though they've missed one of their appointments. We've also made an enhancement that includes creating assignment templates. So we want to make sure that we have the opportunity to now use the SMS edits and save them. So that has to do with the text messaging part. Last but not least, we want to make sure that we have the opportunity to share communications with our clients. That would always include using a signature. So we want to make sure that they know who the communication is coming from. In looking at our pilot training feedback, training had been promised to the pilot sites as an in-person training that was converted into a virtual training due to the onset of COVID-19. The shift to a 100% virtual training required extensive coordination to prepare for and attend the EVA training, such as determining the physical location of staff at the time of training, availability of space, network access and support, and access to equipment. Feedback from the training attendees was captured through an online survey tool. We captured this from some of our super users that we met with at meetings throughout the pilot. Users shared this feedback with us. Given that the training was made virtual at the last minute, the training team converted everything to a virtual experience and set up an Adobe Connect classroom. The training exercises were built into the training to give us users a hands-on experience as they learned. It was also available for them to refer back to should they need a refresher or have questions. Not only that, but the link test environment, which is a test environment, gave users an opportunity to explore the application prior to going live. Our users also had some highlights for us. The users let us know that training was supposed to be in person, but the aspects of training would have been better received had there been a physical trainer present. So that was one of the key takeaways that we had, is how can we incorporate the feeling of a physical trainer being present? And also, time was a challenge because the training required so much time and more than originally allotted. We wanted to make sure that between the learning and applying of the data and the information that they received, we wanted to make sure that even though that was short at the onset, we wanted to make sure that they had enough time on the back end to have time dedicated specifically to EVA, and that there were other competing priorities that they were able to account for. VR&E aims to entertain the feedback about the time and make adjustments to provide the staff the best opportunity to understand and learn about the new tool. So we want to make sure that we hear their feedback, respond to their feedback, and make improvements. This is going to be a regular part of their daily function. And the training team has already created a few items that will be of assistance to the staff as a result of the pilot, such as the FAQ document and an enhancement bulletin. Pilot participants not only provided feedback regarding the training, essential to how they receive information about using the system, but provided feedback about their interaction with the actual application. Users reported that once they learned the application, it saved them lots of time. Not only that, but they also found the email reminders to be very helpful. The application's ability to capture case notes and save them in our case management system was very helpful. It eliminated having to copy and paste, or remember to have to go back and create the case note. There was also the use of bulk messaging, which is useful right now given the fact that we are still responding to COVID-19, and there are times when we would need to send out messages about office hours, for example, to a group of individuals. So the bulk messaging was extremely useful and helpful right now. The texting ability is one of many features of EVA that the staff found very useful and very helpful. Not only was it another tool in their tool belt, but it was something useful when veterans did not respond to emails. We also looked at the fact that there was no major programming needed for integration with our current case management system, made for a smooth and easy, quick transition. From the feedback that we've received, we've made sure to incorporate all of the enhancements that we possibly could before national rollout. There are over 20 improvements and enhancements that we've made. Just to go through a couple, we now have the ability from feedback to create recurring appointments and events. So, for example, if you have staff that have a specific meeting every Monday at 8 o'clock, they now can incorporate that into the scheduler to make sure that there are no appointments scheduled at that time. There are also time restrictions. If someone is off work every other Monday, we now can incorporate that into the scheduler as well. The drag and drop functionality, being able to drag a message or an attachment over into an email that you're sending out or a text message that you're sending out and just drop it without having to recreate it or retype it, definitely a plus and something we heard back from the staff that was useful in terms of an enhancement. Last but not least, again, reaching out to our veterans if they miss an appointment just to let them know we still want to connect with them. We realize they missed an appointment. We are still looking forward to connecting with them. So again, there are over 20 improvements. We just wanted to highlight a few here with you today. Again, our pilot has ended, and I'm going to turn it over to Lalonde Bermudez, who's going to talk a little bit about our pilot successes and some of the feedback we received there. Lalonde?
Thanks, Jamie. Looking at the pilot from the user perspective, their expectations were set and met, and they love that the system works. The application did what we expected it to do, and the automated tasks removed a lot of burden from the staff, a lot of the administrative burden. And the training was adapted to be 100% virtual given those current circumstances we have now, just like what Jamie mentioned earlier. And they love that the application is user-friendly, making it easier for the staff to make that transition over to EVA. Looking at the pilot from our business perspective, it was necessary to have a wide array of supporting staff from within VR&E service and within the Veteran Benefits Administration. Another great aspect was that the VR&E staff and the Career Index were very quick to respond to incoming questions and concerns through the help desk ticket system. Many times we were able to respond within 24 hours or less, and it took less than maybe like 48 hours if we had to consult with another team. Also, our leadership was engaged and supported throughout the entire process, and this was helpful when we encountered issues and needed support, such as for policy, clarification, etc. Also, our teams and assigned staff had dedicated, protected time to work on this project. And our staff and veterans who participated in the pilot provided success stories that we can use to inspire and encourage others. You may have heard a few of them. From veterans, they said it would be great to implement EVA, or I voluntarily opt-in to use EVA to communicate with my VR&E counselor. And from both rehab counselors, the value that they saw in EVA, thank you, that really saves me a ton of time. Or I use the bulk function to text all my Chapter 31 the link for a community program which helps veterans with paying their bills when they are financially strapped. And lastly, this program is amazing. I am very pleased with it. From the pilot to national implementation, we would like to share what impact we will have across the nation. We will go from 4 cities of the initial pilot to 350 locations. We will touch 169 employees to over 1,600 employees. And program support participant-wise, we will go from 10,779 program participants to over 125,000 veteran service members and their families. And as you may have heard Jamie mention, EVA accidentally prepared our pilot station to maintain and actually increase the communications with participants during this COVID-19 pandemic. If it weren't for EVA, we would not be able to send text messages and mass emails to the program participants. So that's been a really key plus and impact. We hope that you're interested in learning more about VR&E. If so, you can contact us By using the downloadable version of this slide deck, our information is also on the slide as well as our website. Thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your VR100 Centennial Celebration, and we also wish to continue our long-standing collaboration with RSA. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, Chris, Rob, Jerry, Jamie, and Leland for the information you have shared with us about the partnerships between the Vocational Rehabilitation Program and your programs. Not only because this information is very interesting and exciting when it comes to the ways in which it has helped individuals and veterans with disabilities to improve their employment outcomes and expand their horizons for their careers, but it also is important to share so that others can use it to improve, develop, and expand their partnerships in their states. If you wish to learn more about the Vocational Rehabilitation Program, its 100-year history, and the success that individuals with disabilities have achieved through its support, please visit the VR100 webpage at rsa.ed.gov, where you will find other webinars in this series as well as other resources. Thank you.
Please note that on June 22, 2020, the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, Vocational Rehabilitation and Employment Service announced a change in its name to Veteran Readiness and Employment Service to better reflect the needs of veterans. Their information and links in this webinar remain the same. Thank you.